Yeah, just on that, on the faceless organisation being fine, I think it's quite a bold assertion to make that that it is a faceless organisation. Essentially, it's personified by the people who run it, whether that's the Secretary of State, the ministers, the Chief of the Defence Staff, and the service chief. So it's not really a faceless organisation. If that organisation is persistently fined for breaking the law, then the people who run that, that is going to reflect on them. So I don't think it's pointless that we're just sort of paying fines from one organisation to another, and that is ultimately what the families want. They don't, essentially we're saying you can sue the lads, who are running it, but if the organisation hasn't trained them and put them up to the task and given them the equipment to get on with it, then there's no sanction for that organisation. And it's not about money. No one, whether they get fined 50p or £5 million, it doesn't matter. What they want is someone to take responsibility for their son or daughter who has lost their life. You understand that, don't you?
I understand exactly, and I absolutely agree. It's not a faceless organisation, and the reason it's not a faceless organisation in part is because of the implementation of the duty holder process, where the Secretary of State, the head of the organisation, and the heads of each of the three services, the 4 stars, are now far from faceless because they are the duty holders and they are being held to account. So in many ways, I would say that we are probably arguing the same point. We have simply come to a different solution, and I think the solution which the department has come to by using the duty holder system actually ensures that the organisation is not faceless and those who are running the organisation are held to account, which ultimately, I think, is what we all want to see.
Thank you, ma'am.
Following your argument, why then should we not have total corporate immunity from law and prosecution for all military matters? Is that not what you're arguing?
No, I'm not arguing that. I think as it sits, because of the nature in which we train, whereby we are trying to make... we seem to accept, the committee, I understand from the report, accepts that operations should be exempt.
Yes.
So at that point then, if we are to conduct hazardous training in a manner which means that we can seamlessly move from that training into operations and avoid transferring that risk from training to operations, that's the difficulty, how we distinguish that line. So no, I'm not seeking that there should be a wider corporate exemption from other activities where risk is appropriate, where risk can be taken, but it needs to be limited as much as we possibly can. But because of that relationship between training moving seamlessly into operations, I think that's the one area where there is an exemption and should continue. Of course, it's worth pointing out it's not just the MOD who has that exemption. I understand that the police also have the exemption from hazardous training. So there would be a wider implication if we were to remove that exemption. But my key point is, I'm not sure what value it would have for this particular exemption in the Manslaughter Act to be removed for reasons I've tried to explain to the committee.
Thank you.
James Gray.